Okay, you guys, let's do this. It's going to be so professional. Like, so professional. Here we go. Well, welcome to the Live Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and June Colson, a couple of clean comedians who support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. I hope you're ready. Get set. Let's go. Since podcasts have a catchy tune, we wrote this song for Michele and June. Clean comedians are best friends too. Oh, it's so good. And you never know what they'll say or do. Here we go, sing with me on Live Support, with Michele, who's really short. We'll have a ball, with June, who's really tall. They have fun, interviewing comedians on Live Support, with Michele, who's really short. Now it's time to start Live Support.
The Live Support Podcast is brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network.
Wow, give yourself a round of applause. Woo! That was magic. Oh no.
Oh, hey.
Welcome to the award-winning Laugh Support Podcast. I'm your host, June Bug Colson, here with Michele with the 1L, Trisha's sister, Rhonda Colson, Corey's friend. Don't call me Shelly. Michele, who's really short. Michele VanDusen. Michele, no, you have a new toy? What is that?
I don't know what it's called. It's like a piano thingy that you just blow into. It's like a portable organ in your hand.
This is not what we need today. It feels like a Monday to me. We're recording on a Thursday. It feels like a Monday. I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared for your shenanigans today. Michele has a grandchild, so now there's going to be more weird toys and things that will show up in the background and on the podcast. So last time, Michele, that we were on, the stiletto, there was a random shoe in the background. Now you have a Lego sleigh.
It's Christmas time. Come on.
It will be pretty close to Christmas by the time this episode airs, probably, or at least Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But what's the moo-moo? Why do you have a moo-moo hanging behind you now? What is this? What do we have?
Okay. So I just threw a scarf up there because I've been doing a lot of auditions, and so it's just the blue background, and it's a little extra bright. So I thought, let me just throw that up there for our recording so that I could take it back down real quick versus removing all of the background stuff to get back to our set. So that's why. So you can't see the stiletto. You can't see all the other things that are behind there right now. So I thought I had to bring some things up front. So, wah!
All right. So basically a little behind the scenes, every time we do the podcast, I never have my camera set up properly. I'm always having to rearrange and redo angles, and my lighting is weird, and my life is always, I'm just nothing. I never have my life together. And I think we all know that by now. You know, anybody who's listened to more than the 86 seconds of our podcast knows that I don't have my life together. And Michele always has a different background. So for our listeners, this is what goes on. This is what goes on to do the podcast. Okay. So Michele, are we going to talk about some exciting news about the podcast?
Oh, I didn't even get that uploaded. Yeah, that's what I was working on. I totally forgot all about it till you mentioned it. Okay, so what's really exciting is our podcast is a finalist in the Crown Awards. What?
That's crazy. Michele, what is the Crown Awards?
I knew you'd ask me that right now. It's I don't know.
It's basically an award in the Christian industry. People who are producing, it's different categories, right? So there's documentaries, there's short films, there's podcasts. And so our podcast is now one of the top finalists for a Crown Award. So we won't. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Okay. So it's the International Christian Visual Media. So it's ICVM. I had to pull that up real quick. I'm like, oh, whoops. So this is the 52nd year that they've done Crown Awards. And you're correct about all the the categories, because it's they have movies and production and film and foreign things, because it's international, so they have foreign categories, television productions, anything that's a visual. And because we put our podcast on YouTube, we qualify.
Yes.
And so we were submitted, and we were accepted first into the festival, kind of a thing, and into the categories. And
Right.
then now we've been selected. So out of 400, not 400 podcasts, but 400 entries, we're one of the top 5 in our video podcast. So whoop, whoop.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
So the episode is Kicking It with Ken.
Yes.
That was it last season before?
Season 2.
It was season 2. Okay, so you could submit one from any of your seasons. So we did Kicking It with Ken Davis, who's one of the godfathers of Christian comedy. He's a pretty amazing human being. So we're super excited about that. We're also excited to see in the categories. Last season, our friend TC Stallings was on the podcast, and TC, his documentary is one of the finalists in the documentary, I believe, categories. Our friend Jason Earls, who's been on the podcast, Jason's
his comedy video,
comedy special. I think it's 7 things.
7 jokes I can't tell in church.
Yeah, 7 jokes I can't tell in church, which is it's such a funny comedy special. It's so good. It is absolutely so good. So anyway, we're very excited about that, and that's a fun thing for us. So we'll find out in February what what happens with that. But we wanted to share that we're just super excited that we're nominated to be in the in the top 5. So
it is exciting. And the award ceremony is going to be happening at the NRB convention in Dallas in February. So we're going to take our little selves down there and, go check out the convention and go to the award ceremony and bring back an award.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah.
way,
We
we're
will.
going.
We're going.
Well, hey, speaking of bringing back an award, I got to see our guest just recently at the LOL GCA walk away with a trophy in her hand.
Ooh.
I don't think it's the first time she has been recognized and given an award for her amazing career in comedy. So, Michele, why don't you tell us who is on the show, and let's get her out here and start this awesome interview.
Okay. All right. You guys ready? So, our guest today is a Christian comedian entrepreneur. She's an author. She's a life coach. She's a mentor. She began performing in 2001 as it was a calling from God. And so she shared her talents like on the East Coast, the West Coast, Puerto Rico. And she has shared the stage with like some very great comedians and speakers, very famous gospel singers. So, but here's the deal. Let's welcome to the Laugh Support Podcast our inspiring friend, Platinum.
All righty.
She's here. Welcome, Platinum, to the Laugh Support Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, and congratulations on being one of the finalists for the Crown Award. That got to be exciting and awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're definitely super excited about it. It's it's a little bit in the future, so we'll try not to, get too anxious or worry about it in between
Don't
now
claim
and then.
that thing. Go on and claim it.
We're winners. We won.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Go on and claim that thing. Yeah. Bring your award on home.
I'm calling it.
On the shelf. Yeah, just one of many that's to come.
No, thank you. So, hey, I just saw you at the LOL GCA walk away with a trophy in your hand. And so that wasn't the first time that they recognized you. Is that correct?
Correct. They did. And also in 22, I got my 2 little awards here. Yeah, they both for the Pioneer Award. Oh, that's sweet. I don't know what I done, but praise the Lord. I'll take it.
The LOL LOLGCA, it's Living on Laughter Gospel Comedy Association, their conference, and they give out these awards, and this is not, people are nominating, voting, doing all of these things. This is something that the leadership in the LOLGCA really pray over. They have specific categories. It's a very, I feel like it's a really intimate award to receive, and it's your peers and comedy, and it's such a beautiful thing. And I love every year getting to see the different people who walk away, in 2021, 22, I received recognition from them. And, one of the comedians this year, he said, I've been doing this for 20 something years, and he's not been recognized, or given an award or anything of that nature. And it was just very confirming that, that people see him and see what he's doing. And we don't, obviously, in the Gospel Comedy Association, the Christian Comedy Association, we're not out here doing it for awards or recognition. No. But when your peers see you and lift you up like that, publicly on the platform, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, the phone would ring. My
is that my sister? Is she calling?
Oh, that's the lady next door. As a matter of fact, my student won the Apprentice Award. I was shocked.
Ooh.
No, and she was shocked. I did a training, the makings of a stand-up comedian, back in July, and I also, be doing it in January as well. And she got an award for The Apprentice. So I was excited. I was like, whoa. But you're right. It's awesome that people recognize you, and you don't even think you're doing what you're doing. You think ain't nobody paying attention. Or at least that's for me, or people don't care, and then they recognize you for the work that you're doing. And like I said, I'm not doing the work for no recognition, but I'm doing the work because I believe this is something that God is calling me to do, something because I enjoy helping people. You know what I mean? So why not take our experience like you and Michelle are doing here, taking your experience and turning it into where you can help what I want to say, put other people in the spotlight. You know what I mean? Take it what had. I recognize, and you're doing the same thing here. I'm recognized. Here's somebody that I want people to meet, with my audience. So I thank you. I thank y'all for thinking of me. So,
oh man, I love it. So I got to meet Platinum at the LOLGCA, and when I tell you, she just lights up the room when she comes in. It was just such an honor and blessing to meet her, and she was just so kind and supportive, and we shared each other's information, and just it just feels like an automatic friend, and so you've become part of my laugh support circle.
You stay on my desk, right?
Look at that! Look, she's got
so I can grab your information. I'm like, she stays on my desk, okay?
Aw, that's awesome. Well, hey, so the podcast, we call it Laugh Support because we are talking about the people who support each other. I know you've been doing comedy for a while. As Michelle said at the introduction, you've been a mentor, you've been a teacher. But let's talk about and just go back in time a little bit to when you first started comedy and started sharing with people that this is a thing that I'm doing. When you think about that, Platinum, who do you think about? Who comes to mind that was in your circle, that was there and supportive as you began this journey?
Well, I noticed at the very start when I really prayed about it and said, Lord, what am I called to do? I always tell people, like, Lord, you need to tell me why I'm here, or you need to take me. And I would say with one eye, because if you could take me, I want to see when it came. But, I shared it with my pastor, and he said, I see you doing that. And he had a comedian at the church shortly after that, and that's where I got the name from. Because I was sitting in the audience. He said, hey, Miss Blondie, you look like you got some money. I said, I ain't Blondie, I'm Platinum. And so when I got to see him, he asked me, did I have a stage name? And I'm like, no. He said, well, won't you let Platinum be your name? I said, Platinum? I said, okay. I said, well, what if I change the color of my hair? He said, no matter. Once your name is established, it's established. I guess you think about pink. Her hair used to be pink, but, right. You do different colors. Or natural color. But So yeah, and then I just started going out. So I would say family to start with. That was really supportive of what I was doing, and some friends, just really says, "Hey, go for it." And I guess I had always been a go getter. Even
Mm.
as kids, we'd be singing on the corner. You know them little things that you pop the bottle with on your cans, those little rings, like you.
Yeah, the little Coke tabs.
Yeah, we used to take the little ring part, take them on, make a tambourine. So that was singing, So, but along the way, I got to meet different comedians. I met Miss Clarice early on
Mm.
in my comedy career, and we kind of, jived together, and I put on my first comedy show because people would not let me get on their stage.
Mm.
So I had to create my own stage. I'm like, well, I got a big mouth and I know how to gather people, and that's what I did.
Mm. Yeah. Let me ask you this. Like, I know in my own life, when God really pointed out that this was the path for me,
Mm-hmm.
there were people in my inner circle that were very supportive, but
Mm-hmm.
then also the enemy tried to come in the inner circle with some people that I thought, this person would be supportive or that person would be supportive, and literally question me of like, do you really think you can do ministry like this, or who does she think she is, or what's she trying to do? Did you ever feel like you met with resistance? Because if it was someone on the outside circle, I'd be like, whatever, who are they don't know me. But the inside's a different story.
I did. Matter of fact, and this person gave me some good advice, as far as pricing wise at one point in my career. I thought, oh, that's nice, and I always shared that with other people. But then it was one time I done an event, and because I wouldn't bring his people on, he told me, well, ain't nobody coming to your event. I was like, no, what's that to say? You know what I mean? But I didn't let that stop me. I said, well, God, this is your thing. So whatever I do, as in Proverbs 16:3, I love to use that scripture. Commit your work unto the Lord, that your plans may succeed. And I'm like, Lord, this is yours. I'm stepping out on faith here. I'm getting this venue that's way beyond what I had been in, because somebody told me I need to step up my game. I'm like, so I like a good challenge. I'm like, okay, God, you gotta help me step my game up. And he did, and had a nice turnout, had 175 people.
Nice.
And so, I had to kind of throw that back out there at that person. Well, let me tell you how many people I had. Thank you, Lord. But yeah, it can be disappointing when your colleagues do that to you. You know what I'm saying? And when they do that to you. So but I just try to keep the faith.
Yeah. Michele, it sounds like Platinum, she's done what many of our guests have done when someone didn't put them on the stage, or they didn't have a comedy group in their area. They just put it on themselves, right?
Yeah. And like, that's the best thing to do anyway, is to just forge your own path. And I love that you just like, I'm doing it anyway. Here we go. And then God showed up, because you can see, you had a great response. And so it shows that you do have a purpose on your platform, and you do have a calling, and you do have an audience out there. And like that's what's hard too, is when you're putting on a show and you're inviting other comedians, it's always hard to pick who fits like your brand. And so sometimes when, people are like, oh yeah, we're friends, let's go do this together, but your comedy doesn't quite mesh, then your audience is like, I don't know if I ever want to see this again. Versus what you did is you went out there like, well, I'm going to do this. Come on, Lord. He's like, I got you, girl. And then it just opens up the door like that. I love these overcoming type of stories, and it makes you more resolved, doesn't it, in your calling?
And I was going to say, and then I knew it was when the Lord, I started out as an actress. Lord blessed me to, as an actress, I got to do, I acted in play for about 3 years. This lady, and she was a Christian, so which was interesting. And the first character I played had platinum hair, a bush wig. and I got to play. Her name was Miss Shoetane, and then from there, the Lord said, "You're a comedian," and that's when I said, "Okay." And it was September 11th. That it was in September. I put on a show 2 weeks after September 11th. Of course, it was already planned before September 11th happened, and had a packed, and it was at the church. It was a fundraiser for our church. It was packed. And from there, I created my first Mother's Day Eve dinner and comedy show, which was in 2001. And from there, God sent me to Puerto Rico twice. Went to Puerto Rico. I'm just starting comedy, right? I got a paper in the newspaper. They took me a picture of me. It was for Army base. And one of the guys that was in the play with me, he was in the Navy. And he said, "Hey, you want to come up?" Well, I think he had left September 11th. He introduced me to a friend. Anyway, she told the chaplain, and he brought us over there. He said, "Oh, we need to laugh." So we went to Puerto Rico and, did a comedy show. He sent me to California, opened up. A girlfriend was doing something there. She said, "I'd love to have you on the stage. We just, Andre Crouch going to be here. The late Andre Crouch. It'd be nice if you can come." I said, "Say what? Let us pray." Called her, hey, I'm on there for ticket. And so, yeah, just been the, so God has really opened up the door. I did a show with Damon Williams, Lavelle Crawford, and it was Sean Chavez and Sean Miller on it. And so God has really, and I tell people, when you where God wants you to be, because he'll start opening up the doors for you.
Yeah.
And that's what God did. He opened the door, go here, go there. I'm like, send me. So, and then the other piece was I had a friend, because I would have the shows and hire other people. And she was like, "Platinum, why you just don't focus on you?" I said, "Well, I think this show was helping all of us." You know what I mean? Hey, no man's an island. So I figure if I bring them in, hopefully they'll bring people and, be one happy, you know what I'm saying? Everybody win-win. It's a win-win situation. So, always, I just had a show back in August, and I named it Not Famous But Funny. And so that's the way, because sometimes people don't know you, like, who's that? I ain't never heard of them. Well, because you ain't heard of them, don't make them funny. So, I just love creating, I'm creative anyway. So God just created me that way. So I always like to do catchy things.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like, God proves over and over again that nothing is wasted, right? And sometimes I think when he moves us from one spot to another, it's like, wait, like you're leaving one thing, but I feel like everything he puts in us, he uses it again and again and again. And I wondered if you could speak on the actress, how God allowing you to do that, I believe, makes you an even better comedian because of the skill set.
Right. Be frank with you, when I was growing up, I used to drop acid like I don't know what. And when God first, Michelle, it was amazing when God called me to be a comedian. And I had to just, one day when I thought about it, I just had to give him all the glory, the praise, and the honor. I'm like, you make me an actress? Me doing that, something where I got to remember, you talking about lines and papers, so it's God. And so I know he just, and you're right, I would read the paper and I would read, and all of a sudden that stuff would get to me. And it would start, in my memory. And what I tell people about acting is, first you're reading the lines. You're trying to remember. You read, you remember. And I think once you remember, then you can start living that character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because first you're just trying to remember. So you don't have a lot of emotions to it. But once you remember the lines and all of a sudden the emotions go with those words that's on the paper, then you become that character. And so I love doing that, because if we think about it, as comedians, we're really actors.
Yeah.
Certain things we do, we acting out with our eyes, with our hands, with our bodies, the gestures. So we really actors. And comedy, we remember the script. So we don't typically get up there, empty. We already prepared for it. Now we come, we know when we say this, we're going to do this. Or when we say that, or we're going to look this way, we're going to do something. So I think it's all sort of together.
Yeah.
So, one is more scripted, but I think it's still a script. because we write out comedy. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand. And so that's why when God told me, I was like, oh, it was so funny. So when I first told my family, and my sister was like, well, you're an actress. You know, when I was trying to tell them some jokes I wrote, she told, oh, well, maybe you should write a script. And that's how my character Mama D came about, because she told me write a script. And then I said, well, I know I didn't want to be in a box. So I said, she'll just be an alter ego. I'm not going to, and because you had Sister Cantaloupe was dressing like an old lady, but Mama D didn't really dress funny. She just had the hair and the glasses. So she didn't really have all that other stuff, because that's hard to change out of. And I think we was talking about that at the comedy. At the conference, how do you know, but if you just got to put on a wig and some glasses, that's easy. You know, you got a table with props on it. So Mama D comes real quick. All I do is throw some glasses on. Now I'm Mama D. You know, there you go, Michelle. See, that's just easy. We can throw the glasses and some hat, and we Mama D. And you know, or Hattie Mae Johnson, she had the glasses, and you can just do something. So it all kind of goes hand in hand, you know. And I tell people, I guess I was a clown all my life, if the truth be told. But you know, you never know those things because you don't think about them because you do them naturally.
Yeah. Michelle, at the conference this year, they had a panel that I loved because there's a lot of people that do characters, and they had a panel of folks that do that, and I talked about the fact that, like, I don't do a character, I don't have a wig or glasses, I don't change anything out, but the reality is, as comedians, we are doing characters. I was talking about my dad, Hot Dog, and kind of watching them, how they transformed everything to be a specific character, but how I could learn from those doing that, how to be better when I'm speaking in my dad's voice, and learning more to carry the mannerisms and body language of my dad. And I wondered, I mean, Michelle, you're an actress as well. Do you find the same thing as Platinum, that it just prepares you for the stage and the lines and connecting with an audience?
Well, yeah, because I only talk about my daddy, Hot Dog, and when I do that, I throw on this little accent right there. No, I have, I am not as proficient as Platinum is at all, but it does definitely help you with the confidence of being on stage, and then just accepting what's going on. The hard part for me has always been, I wrote this, and if they don't like it, then that's me, they don't like. And so that's always been a weird kind of a thing. But I would have loved to, I should have gone to the conference with y'all, because it would have been really neat to have been in the room on that workout, that breakout session there, because there's so many comedians that do characters, and it's usually it's been frowned upon before from like normal, like stand-ups, like straight, if you're doing a straight stand-up, they frown on that kind of stuff. But it is so good. It is so good. Like if you look at like Larry the Cable Guy, right? Larry, right? That started off as a small character on his part. Okay. And so now it's a huge thing, and he's making a living off of that. So I love this. And I want to know about all your characters now, because you said,
I have Hattie Mae Johnson. Hattie Mae Johnson is a gossiper and a wannabe gospel singer. Yeah. And then, no, I'm sorry, that's Hattie Mae Johnson is the lady's secretary. So she's pretty much, she talks about her work and her husband. Okay. Her children. And I don't do her as much. And then you have Mama D is the gossiper and wannabe gospel singer. She thinks she can sing. And so she's one of like the old mothers in the church. She can't sing, but she thinks she can. And so, and she gossips about people. You know what I mean?
Do you do a hanky with her? You gotta.
No, she just have her glasses on, and her wig, and she on the phone, or she talking to a neighbor, or she doing something like that. So, and as you said, like when you talk about your father, you change your voice, so you really doing it. And I'm quite sure you got expressions, or you may have how his mannerism. So you really doing it on stage. So that's Mama D. Like I said, I could easily change her in and out, and be Platinum at the same time. Well, Platinum is the straight up stand-up comedian. Those are more, I think when I do those characters, I'm kind of more getting into the acting side. Yeah. Now I'm becoming another person. But yeah, but yeah, it's interesting. I enjoyed it. I did. This was my first video I did. It's called Triple Platinum Live.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and then you see that's Platinum, and then
Uh-huh.
oh, I'm over here, and then there's Hattie Mae Johnson, and there's Mama D. And so it's so interesting. Whenever you do a video, make sure you have somebody who's there who does still pictures, because we didn't have any still pictures. And so when the lady tried to get them off the video, like the back here, the guy told me it looked like they're like a bootleg. You know, that's when they started. I said a bootleg. So I had to get another guy to take pictures and just kind of redo it. I said, oh, so I know. Always remember to have a still photographer, because he was saying it's hard. Now I don't know, now technology changed, but it was hard to extract a clear picture from a video.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
No, I think it's still pretty much the same. Recently, when I did Dry Bar,
okay.
they said that that's what they have been using for years. They have been using just clips off of the video to do the cover photos and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And now when you get there, they have a whole separate photographer and a green
Right.
screen, and they're shooting different images of you to be able to change the background and do all that stuff. But I guess if you go back and you look, and you know, they've been producing shows for a long time. Same thing. They had to learn that lesson too. That oh, thanks, Michelle.
That's
Is that you?
That's me on the Dry Bar stage, but that's actually
Okay.
a screenshot.
a screenshot.
From the actual live.
Okay.
It was being showed live as they were recording it. So,
Okay.
Michelle, thank you for usually Platinum. She finds the most horrific photograph of me that she can possibly. There it is. That's my triple chin
That's a
surprise
good one.
face.
I heard your comedy is wonderful. I was in that, I mean, cracking up. I don't know what your style would be, but it's like you're serious, but you just funny.
No, thank you.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
what they call that. Not you're not quite deadpan, but I don't know what they call it. But you have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you just,
I do a little bit of storytelling. There's a little edge of sarcasm, I think,
okay.
in it. But then that, like, I feel like the sweet Southern part pops in there too, that balances out. So it's not too harsh.
Wait. So you're saying that your sweet Southern part isn't the sarcasm part? What? Wait, this is a whole new thing.
You keep them guessing, Michelle. You keep them guessing. Okay, so Platinum, you know, as far as laugh support goes, we touched this just a little bit at the beginning of the interview. I know that you have definitely done mentorship before, and also you're now teaching people the art of comedy. So we know you are supportive to other people. Tell us a little bit about some of those avenues that you get to be laugh support to other comedians.
Oh yeah. When I first got to the church where I am now, and I know my pastor was telling me, well, because I was an usher at the time, and I ended up doing something at the Christmas, you know, holiday party, whatever. And so I guess they knew I was a comedian. So then I guess a few other people, I don't know if they told them they wanted to be comedians or they were just being clowns in church. And he would send them to me. And so I would mentor them and I would put them on a show. You know, I had a show and I would put them on it, and they got to do their comedy. And so that was good. And I had another fella, he says, hey, I want to be a comedian. And I'll normally tell them, well, go write 5 to 10 minutes worth of material and then come back, let me hear it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come back and I would say, okay. And I will help. If it ain't funny, I'll help them put the funny in it. So like Turi, I shared my show with her. I mean, my class with her. So I'm doing a class, which was my first one in July, called The Makings of a Standup Comedian. And so it's just the beginning of intro into comedy. So I give them a history on it. I tell them what is a joke. I tell them how to write a joke, you know, the structure of it. And then we talk a little bit about heckler, you know, with practicing it, and then also a little bit about hecklers. And so that's a way of getting people, if you really want to do comedy. Like I think one of the fellas, and I can't think of the guy name, I got his picture, but he dresses up in a character. And he talked about when he first saw comedy, he thought they just got up on the stage and just be, you know, anything out their head. They probably do that in the clubs, but you know, but I think the average comedy, we come with a written script. So Yeah, I just tell people to come if you want to. If you think God's calling you to do that, or if your family tell you you're funny, your friends, and you want to give
Mhm.
it a shot at it, then I tell them write. And the first thing I tell people, write about your experience, because that's really what we get up and talk about, our experience,
Mhm.
our observation of what we see in the world. And so if you come up with that, but I think the best comedy when we talk about it, our family, when we talk about ourselves,
Mhm.
that's the best comedy. And then
Mhm.
you stretch out into what you see in your neighborhood or on the news. And so they will come, and then I will help them. And then if I have a show, I'll put them on the show.
Mm. That's I think maybe Patrick Petey, is that who you're thinking of? Uh but he does the character, dresses as a character.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he
He
won an award too.
Yeah, funny guy. Yeah, for sure. I think, one of the best pieces of advice I got from a veteran comedian, the first competition I did, he was like, hit him with hot dog. That's my dad's name. Tell him
Uh-huh.
about your dad, man. He's like, because
Exactly.
even if you don't win, the judges, the other comics, the people, they're going to remember you for something unique about you. So it's not, and really, there's not a zillion unique topics we can talk about. Most people are talking about their work, their marriage, their children, their childhood, their parents, right? But what is unique is your personal experience, what
Right.
your mom is like. Now,
Exactly.
other people, you want them to be able to relate or at least be entertained
That's right.
by your people, even if it's the polar. I mean, I've had some people like LA
Mhm.
not even believe that my parents' names were actually their names. Like they
Oh,
thought I made these things up because they didn't get the Southern nickname culture, that,
uh-huh,
but they're
uh-huh.
entertained by it.
Right, right.
But that's when you're talking about your own people, your own personal experience, then you're not having to worry about replicating someone else's material. We even had some of the comedians talk about when they're like, I want to be a comedian. They literally just memorized, Eddie Murphy bit, got
Right.
on stage and did that. And they're like, no, so when you said, what is a joke? You're teaching people what is a joke.
Hmm,
Does
hmm.
it surprise you that a lot of people don't even really know what that is or what the formula is?
I think some of them know and don't know, but what makes them more authentic is when you do talk about yourself, versus trying to like say Eddie Murphy. Maybe that's where you want to start, but I think it what you say the guy named Pete.
Yeah, Petey. I think his character was Petey and his name is Patrick.
Okay, Patrick Petey. Okay, him
Yeah.
Petey. Or he talked about. I think it was him that says sometimes you can look at other people's jokes and they give you ideas.
Right.
You know what I mean? You says, oh, well, my situation is similar, so we can all be talking about the same thing. And I was thinking about that would be a nice segment to have. Everybody, you give one subject and see how many people come up with different ideas with that subject. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because I see Fifi comes on there with the pocketbook. I used to do something like that early on, but where I got the idea from watching a Comic View, I used to see Cheryl Underwood would come on, always holding the.
Uh-huh.
She never
Uh-huh.
said anything. She would just be holding the pocketbook. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and it came to me. I would, bring up on the stage. I'll bring my pocketbook on stage, and I would say, you know what? I'm bringing my pocketbook up here because I saw that lady over there looking at my pocketbook. And she was talking, "Ooh, how nice it looks." Yeah, I don't want her to have to confess her sins, So I'm gonna bring my pocketbook up here. So, but we can all have similar jokes, but like I said, come tell the joke from a different perspective.
Hmm. Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? You'd be like, "Oh, you told that joke, but you didn't tell it like that."
Yes.
We all
Yes.
come from our own perspective. Like you said, we tell the same thing, but from our own perspective, and that's what I tell people when they write. I'm like, talk something about you. Like you said, tell them about you. Because your best critic that you can think about what happened in your life, something that traumatized you, something that scared you,
Yeah.
something that made you happy, whatever. And you
Mm.
come from there. Like one guy he was talking about how his mama messed him up. And he did a joke about free toes and well, he didn't really do that, but I said, once you say this, and he did everything about toes because somebody's mama wanted him to rub her feet. And she said, why I don't eat Frito, Cheetos, and he kind of came with all these snacks with toes in it. I said, now that's funny, just kind of help them put the funny in it. Because you tell the story, but you got to put punches in it.
Yeah.
So then that is just like saying, I went downstairs and had some coffee. And you're like, and? So it has to be a punch or something in there that the surprise element is what calls people to laugh. And that's what I always tell people. Put your
Yeah. The surprise and the emotions. I think that one of the first comedy classes I took, he talked about just write down strong emotions, embarrassment, fear, excitement, sadness, and think about a time that you were really afraid. Think about it because people maybe they don't necessarily connect with the specific story, but they can connect with an emotion. I think that's how I know after a show if I've connected with people, because I am more of a storyteller.
Yeah.
After a show, when I've told stories about my husband, like a specific, I do a bit called DIY. And people will want to come up later. Women will want to come tell me like, oh, my husband wanted me to help him, change the motor in our car or whatever. And they'll start telling me like stories of something similar. Or I talk about my kid being in the ER 13 times before he was 12 years old. Okay. And it's all these crazy, weird accidents. And people will come up and tell me, oh, my kid, broke his arm trying to get bubble gum off the top of the refrigerator and stacked up 7 books and, whatever. So, you connect when someone, and that's what I've learned too, I think, is that they're hearing our story, but they're thinking about their own too. Yeah. That's when you connected.
And that's what makes it funny, because they like, that happened to me. That's what say that relatable, comedy should be humorous, thought-provoking, and relatable. The relatable as well. And that's what make them come to you, like I said, after the shows. Oh yeah, that happened to me. Or sometimes, I say, ain't nothing that's ever happened. Just stuff come up in your head, it ain't happened. But anyway, for the sake of this stage, this happened. So people love that, and then you being honest. And I always tell people another thing with hecklers. I say, well, no matter who you are, we all gonna have the moments where we're gonna bomb.
Yeah.
We're gonna be heckled. And I said, I learned early on in training is, when that happens, you go right along with the crowd. They know it. Now you let them know, I know what I ain't funny. But get what? I work hard with it. And they'll start laughing because they know you ain't funny and they ain't laughing. And when you acknowledge that, it kind of makes them laugh and chuckle. And it also keeps you at a higher spirit. You know what I mean? Say, don't sleep with the ship. Like, Lord, I'm bombing and you going down with her. No, I ain't going down. I ain't going down. Because I'm telling y'all, I work hard for this. I see y'all ain't laughing. So you kind of indulge, make them aware that you're aware of what's happening in there.
I love that. Don't sink with the ship. I love that.
So you make light of it. You know what I mean? Find something. Just don't sink with the ship. You acknowledge that I'm sinking. I see y'all.
That takes time to learn those kind of things. Because I don't know how many ships I've sunk. I am an underwater swimmer at this point with my career.
Well, so that could be your joke. Yeah, I ain't going down with y'all. I learned how to be an underwater swimmer, and they will crack up laughing. That's your joke right there. But I think once somebody bring it to your attention, then you know how to. If it's never brought to your attention, you don't think about it. And I tell people, just don't go down to the ship. I mean, if it's silent too much, you acknowledge you silent. And like I said, it be like, Lord, give me something, and see how you can pivot. And I said, it always ain't easy, but at least you ain't, like you say, learn to be an underwater swimmer. I'm gonna do something.
I ain't no mermaid, but I'll try something.
Right, I'll try something,
Look for the seahorse.
Float on my back, y'all gonna do something. And I think try to think of something funny in that moment. Or like I said, the best thing when you acknowledge it, the people gonna laugh too. Even if you have to point out, you ain't laughing. Look, ain't nobody laughing. Because not even I'm laughing. You know what I mean? And you just kind of got to think a way to turn that thing around. Hey, look, I just came up with that one, but You know what I say? Comedians, we got double minds. You know,
Mhm.
that was a joke. I said we got double minds. I told Christian, I said I need to stop coming up here with all my new jokes. She said, no, that's good, Platinum. That's good. That's bold. Cause you come up here with new jokes. I don't know if I said, you know, I came up with, you know, even though James 1:8 says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I said, unless you're a comedian. You know?
Right.
So we got double minds. We think differently than other people, don't y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see the world in a whole new light. I mean, we see it like y'all see it, but Lord, we get to looking at something like, that's a good joke.
Yes. Yeah. Michelle.
There you go. Good joke. And you like Michelle, when you look like you sing, then that's what you do. Put your glasses on. I'm putting on my goggles because I'm going to do some deep water swimming. I ain't going down with y'all.
That's good.
You know, and I think if you go and I'm going over here with y'all. Y'all ain't laughing. I ain't gonna be laughing either. You know, so I think we have to find a way to turn that around to our benefit, and people start laughing. You know what I mean? I don't know who y'all thought y'all was coming to see. I ain't Steve Harvey. You know what I mean? So we just have to come up with a creative idea. You know, don't be messing us up. We work hard for our material, don't we?
Yes.
You're not laughing at us. What's wrong with y'all?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, maybe grab your seat. Well, I'm just gonna sit here with y'all. Y'all ain't laughing. I guess I ain't gonna be talking.
That's usually when that'll be the time my mom goes, that's right, it's about time. No.
There you go. There you go. I remember the first time I did it was called The Funniest Fez, and a young lady, and I saw it, and I said, oh, I'm gonna join this early on in my career. And so of course she was, you know, I tell people, I said, which one we call you, white or Caucasian? But anyway, and so I asked her, and so I said, ooh, I ain't never performed in front of white people. So I'm like, ooh, how is this experience gonna be? You know what I mean? So you don't know when you just always. And so when I said, ooh, what's my open line gonna be? So I just looked, I said, oh. So wow. I said, I must have died and went to heaven. I said, because all I see is white people. And they fell out laughing. You know, I'm like, what, Lord, give me something to open with. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's an icebreaker. And they fell out laughing. Then I was able to kind of get into my routine. And matter of fact, the lady did it for, I think, 1 year. They ended up putting me in the Washington Post. A big old picture in the Washington Post like this with the mic in my hand. Coming some comedian by the name of Platinum. I didn't even know I was in the paper. Because there was another guy that was there. He wrote for like, you know, like the night shows. I think he wrote for Johnny Carson and what's that other guy name?
Dave Letterman.
Dave Letterman. And he wrote for him. And the other one with the long chin, he works on cars now.
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno, right? And he used to write for them too, and he had a little handicap, and I guess he felt slighted because he wrote for them and he didn't win the contest.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I don't know about you, but I'm a winner. Because if I made it on the stage, I'm a winner. I ain't thinking about you. You know what I mean? So we got to take everything as a win. We ain't necessarily have to, I'm a winner. And the next day is when my picture appeared in the Washington Post. Big old picture of me. I'm like, I said, okay. And look, the people who won didn't even get their face in the paper. So you tell me, I win up, you better stop playing.
Yeah.
And then they had another category, because I think they did three contested, 3 shows, and then the final, like I said, the finalist.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one I was on, they only had first and second place. So on her website, she had first place, second place, and then had the word others, and there my name stood. I said, look at God, I'm a other. So tell me I ain't no winner in this whole situation. I don't care what nobody said. We got to take the small wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
People who won wasn't even in the paper. I mean, their names was in the paper. The whole write-up was about them. But they had me and his picture in the paper.
Yeah.
So tell me I wasn't a winner. I'm like, dude, please. See, I don't know if he knew the Lord, but I'm like, dude, please, I'm a winner here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Michelle and I, we've got a a couple of friends that we pray with each other, Christian Comedian, female friends, and that is something that we talk about in our group all the time. Of like what God has for you, He has for you.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, we could look and be envious of the person who was first prize, right, in the first place, but that was for them. God had that for them. It wasn't for us, but He had something totally different. He had your picture in a paper, you know, and that meant a lot to you, and that was recognition, and that was, you know, something else. And sometimes He withholds, and that is the gift.
Exactly. I was on the website. Please, I got to do an interview on the radio. Who wasn't no winner? Like,
Right.
dude, I don't know what you talking about. I'm in the winner. I'm batting 1,000. You know.
Yes.
So I mean, and God has always, like I said, I got to perform before. Like I said, Andre Crouch, Vicky Yohe, Lisa McClendon, Marette Brown, Clark Brown. Like I said, he just placed me with a lot of people. You know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, got to be on Joe, what's his name? Michael Collier. I was referred by K-Mac. And he had me on there twice. I don't know if that was an accident, but wasn't no accident in my book. You know, I got the interview for American Got Talent. I'm still waiting for the call back. But, you know, hey, you know, we have to be grateful for what he does give us. You know what I mean? And like I said, not thinking, Junebug, that we have to be, you know, this. No. And even just think about, like I said, y'all just submitted your name, and here y'all part of the finalists for the Crown Award. Would you say ICBN? And this is their 52nd year. And y'all gonna win. So
come on.
Y'all gonna win. ICBN, come on now. Come on. I forgot what the number 5 mean, but y'all gonna win. You know, like I'm gonna win. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm a winner.
That's right.
I am that I am, because I am said I am. I am. So that's why I tell people, I care what y'all say. I am. You know.
We're gonna take the gold because we're interviewing platinum. So we're gonna take the gold.
There you go. There you go. That's what I'm saying. Y'all gonna win. Y'all doing something great. And like I said, even when you start out, sometimes you don't know which way to go. But I always tell people, you got to get started. Do what you're gonna do. How would say? How would you come say? And you can't be great unless you get started. That's the only way you're gonna get great. You know, you got to get started. You can't just sit on the sideline, complain, kind of like the man sitting on the pool of a setter.
Yeah.
Every time I get ready to go in, they jump in ahead of me. Look, if you have to roll over and be in there with them, I'm going. You know what I mean? You know? He's sitting there waiting. You done been there for what? How many years he said he been doing that?
Michelle and I actually talked about this story a couple of days ago. We were kind of discussing, you know, the different perspectives that people have on that. So it was like 50 something years, or 56 or 36. He was there a long time. A really long time. Yes. Yeah.
And every time he get ready to get in the water, they jump in the head so he couldn't. I'd be rolling over there with him. One more, make room. Make room. Yeah, I'm like, oh no.
This has been a water themed podcast today. We have taken a deep dive.
She started it. I like that, Michelle. You better use that when you feel like you going down. I'm going to go put your glass on. I'm going to go deep diving.
We've taken a deep dive with Platinum today. And speaking of being grateful, Platinum, we are so grateful that you took time out to come and hang out with us here on the Laugh Support podcast. Michelle, you have her website. Can we scroll that at the bottom of the screen? So Platinum is platinumforlaughs.com, and on TikTok you can find her at Platinum Marilyn Franklin, and Facebook is Platinum-Marilyn. It's Marilyn Franklin. So definitely follow Platinum on her different platforms, and they can, if they go to your website, Platinum, are they able to see when this February class is coming up for the making of a stand-up comedian?
I have to put the new link up there. The one from July is there. I have to go and put it up. I've been busy with my classes, so okay. You did tell me also to mention I do on Fridays on Facebook what I call my word scope, and it's where I teach people scripture and biblical stories so they'll learn about the word of God. And then I also have a newsletter which comes out. Well, it used to come out weekly, but since I had my classes, it been like 2 weeks or a month. I told them depends on what my schedule look like, and that's called Word Up. And I've been doing Word Up, I think, since around 2004, between 4 and 2007. I can't remember when I started it. So I've been doing that for a long time. But I just started the Word Scope, I think. Matter of fact, I got on YouTube, so I'm probably at 78 episodes.
Wow.
70, about 70 episodes. So yeah, my goal is to do 100 episodes. I don't know what that means, but everybody say, "Oh, we did 100 episodes." I want to do 100 episodes.
So we can find you also then on YouTube.
Yep, and that's Platinum Marilyn, also on YouTube, or it might be Marilyn Franklin on YouTube. And I forgot to put that up there.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And I'm doing a comedy workshop on January the 9th. It starts on the 9th, and that's the makings of a stand-up comedian. And that's for people who just getting into comedy or just want to learn more about how to write comedy. It's about structuring, joke structuring, and learning how to do that so you can write better for yourself.
Yeah, and I got to meet one of Marilyn's students, platinum student Terry, right?
Terry Young. Terry.
Yeah, I got to meet Terry, and tell you what, she had to be fun to work with. She is just so full of life and so bubbly and so fun, and we were getting to watch the infancy, the beginning of her step into comedy, and I'm so glad that God placed you in her life because I know when I began, I was a very sensitive person about it because I was out of my comfort zone and just trying to learn things. And sometimes I think comedians, if you get the wrong person in their space when they first begin, it can be very disheartening. People can fall out because, someone tried to break them as soon as they came out of the gate. And she's had somebody very supportive. So I definitely I saw how much joy she had getting to be with her teacher and friend and mentor at the conference. I know that she had such a great experience with you. And I really encourage people, if they're, we know some people listen to us that are just interested in comedy, to check that out. And I think you're going to learn a lot of great things, and it'll be a great jumping off point if you're interested in stand-up comedy. Michele, any closing remarks before we send Platinum back to the green room with all the snacks while we close this out?
Yes, I was going to say, June, do you have any idea what we're going to have for dessert when we win our gold?
There you go.
Michele, what?
We're going to have some carrot cake.
Okay, tell me what significance of the carrot cake.
Because, carrots, that's a diamond. Okay.
Diamond. Right. Yeah, it's not gold or platinum. She went with, it's a bad joke at the end of every episode. It doesn't change. I try not to encourage your platinum. But it's, it's part of what we do, I guess.
I know that's right.
So Michele, say sorry to Platinum for that joke. Tell her thank you for being on the show and send her to the green room.
Now, but see, I've been the one to think over. I think about what she said, and I'm laughing again. She reminds me of Melissa McCarthy. You ever heard that?
Yes.
Yes, and I thank you very much for saying that. I take that as a huge honor, and I would love to do a comedy tour with her, and I would love it to be named Heaven and Hell, and that way she could do all the things that she does, and I'll just do all the clean stuff. I'll do the clean comedy, and then she could do everything that she does. Basically, I'll have like 2 minutes on her stage. That's all I'm asking.
Yes.
She heard that is out in the atmosphere, so I'm looking forward to that show.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it. There you go, Melissa. I had a dream because I wanted to do a movie with Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
I said he can just be, not as a lover or nothing. He can just be, my mentor,
right.
Man next door.
You could be his mentor.
Okay.
What?
I'll be like Miss Shoetang coming over there. You say that. Be careful who you choose.
I know. I'm like thinking, who would I put out there? And it would be someone weird like Jack Black. So
be careful who you choose as a friend. I ain't even till you let me in.
Come on.
Well, Platinum, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank
We're going
y'all
to
for
scoot you back
having
to the
me.
green room. We love
Okay.
you. God bless you. And Michelle, let's close this thing out.
All right. To the green room. Woo! Girl, okay, real quick before we close out, do you happen to have a tip this week? You want to shout one out real
I
fast?
do. Yes, I have a tip. Yeah, a tip this week. So this week, my tip is invite a friend. Invite a friend. This is something that I have not done very well. I'm not good with technology and with the social media platforms and all that. I mean, I fake it till I make it, right? But on your personal page, you can invite people to follow you on your comedy page.
Oh, okay.
And I have only done that one time in 5 years, I think, 5 or 6 years. So the other day I was getting ready to fly. I don't know why it came across my mind that, maybe I should invite some people to join my comedy page. So I did that. It'll select like 1,000 people. I think my hang up is that I don't want to bother people or I don't even know how many people that I'm friends with on Facebook are still alive because unfortunately people pass away, right? And I'm like, I don't want to. Anyway, but I did it. I sent out, I did the invite my friends to follow my comedy page. When I landed 2.5 hours later, I picked up 144 followers.
Nice. It would have been 145, but I deleted that invite.
Did you invite the one person? I was like, why is she bothering me? So anyway, I say invite a friend. If you have a personal page and you have a comedy page, you can take that platform, that Facebook platform, and you can invite people to follow your comedy page, because I would really like to kind of narrow down what I have on my personal page and just have people follow the comedy page for just comedy.
We need to do that also for laugh support too. We need to also do that. But while you're talking about this, inviting a friend, what are your socials, girl? Read them out.
Yes, definitely. Please follow Michelle and I. So you can follow me at, my website is junebugcomedy.com, and then everything, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of those things, YouTube, Junebug Comedy. So you can, or YouTube is Junebug Clean Comedy. So so Junebug on everything, and follow my amazing friend, Michelle. It's MichelleVanDusen.org. Facebook is Laugh LM Funny.
I am. It's an I am.
That's an I. Okay.
Laugh. I'm funny.
Laugh. I'm funny.
Just Google my name. My name is Michelle with one L. Just Google my name.
We would follow you, but you guys are confusing us as to. But Michelle is with one L. Michelle's Comedy. In YouTube, she's Michelle's Comedy, and of course, we always want you to follow us on the different platforms for the Laugh Support Podcast. So follow us there. And and you can email us too at thelaughsup@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions for a guest, if you have any questions or anything you want us to talk about, then reach out to us, thelaughsup@gmail.com. All right, Michelle, as I always say, Jesus and Junebug loves you, friends. And Michelle, tell them goodbye.
Goodbye, friends. Thanks for listening. See you next time.